So, hello everyone. I hope that we are all doing so well, and I am so unbelievably excited to get into this presentation today. And for every single one of you that is here live, thank you so much for your time, for your energy, and everyone who's listening to the replay. I know that there's a good chunk of you. I appreciate you all so much for investing in your time into this and trusting me as well. I do not take it lightly by any means and I'm just excited. So, we're going to be diving in today, and hopefully by the end of this session, whether we are on it live right now in this present moment, or you're listening back to this in the replay and you're going to go through it in your own time. I hope by at the end you feel like this little happy bee here, the little happy mind, happy mind. So I guess I just want to jump and kind of start by saying please, for those of you who that are on the live, feel free to use the chat feature as that we are going through. Feel free to be as interactive in the way in which that you feel comfortable to. And equally, if you want to just sit back, absorb, that is absolutely perfect too. You do whatever feels best for you. It is and always is here, a safe space. It is a compassionate space. We know that stress can look and feel in many different flavors for absolutely everyone. So just lean in a way that feels comfortable for you. Lean in with compassion for both yourself and, of course, everyone else as well. And we're all in it together to support each other as that we kind of go through everything. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess we will dive into a bit of an overview. I recommend definitely getting yourself a pen and paper, or if that you've got a note section available to you, then go grab that now as well. Just because with that we're going to make it nice and practical. I hope and intend for every single one of you to leave this call today with a bit of an understanding as to what that you're going to take action on leaving literally this call. And yeah, and I really want us to get into the nitty-gritty essentially. So we are going to go through a bit of an intro in which that we're kind of already diving into anyways. Then, as you guys know, it is a blueprint. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each pillar bit by bit, and we're going to break them down and kind of dissect them. Now, what I would say is some of the pillars, or there might be parts to the blueprint where you're like, oh, yeah, no, I've heard that before, or I already do that, or oh, I'm not sure about that, or you might hear these voices within yourself kind of creeping up. I encourage every single one of you to lean in and lean further in and get curious about how that you can apply those pillars right now in this present moment, if there's different ways of looking about things or whatever it might be for you as well. Then at the end, we're going to open up for a Q&A. So you're more than welcome to ask any questions in which that you want. Of course, during you feel free to pop them in the chat box if they come up. Or if you want to take note and ask at the end, that is perfect as well. I will love it. People have got their pen and paper ready. You will also aiming for around about that 40-60 kind of range mark. Of course, I want to get to the point, but equally want to give you guys and kind of fill into the whatever you guys are wanting me to lean further into as that we go through as well. And I also want to say that if anyone here, whether you again are listening to this recording in the well future or right now, I want to say that I am going to open up one-on-one clarity calls for you guys if that you want to jump on with me individually. So if there's anything after this call or during this call where you're like, I just want to have a yap to Saoirse about this a little bit more, I want to pick her brains, I want just that safe space to unpack things maybe that we've gone through here today, then pop me a message after and I'll speak to that at the end as well. But you will get so much from this alone, and that's only like an extra thing only if you want it. You may not absolutely need it, and that's that essentially. So yeah, that is everything in terms of the house admin, I guess, and we'll just get into it. But of course, I do want to kind of say, who I am and all that good stuff so that everyone does kind of feel that sense of safety. And most of you guys will know my background, but equally there could be people listening to the background or the replay and you're kind of like, well, who are you and why should I trust you talking about stress? Like, are you really a cool and calm collective cucumber, or are you just putting it on? Or, have you ever been stressed in your life, or what is your experience, etc.? So I guess a bit of my professional background. Many of you will know that I am a registered nutritionist, but when I was doing my nutrition degree, there was a lot of things in which that we were being educated around. We were being told things such as stress impacts people and it leads to emotional eating. It influences their sleep. People should sleep 7 to 8 hours. People should eat their fruit and veg, but they're not. People are being told this, but they're not doing it. And I used to sit there in those lectures and I'm like, okay, but why? But like, why are people and why are we as humans, including myself, like, why do I know all these things, but I'm not applying it? What's actually getting in my way from applying all of these pieces of nuggets of wisdom? And that's kind of what brought me on then further into, I'm like, yeah, there's a missing gap here. And we need that mindset piece. So I then went on to do my postgrad diploma in health science and counseling in particular. So I specialized more so in the counseling field. And then I did my certificate in sports nutrition. So I kind of look at the whole picture, you as a whole, your mind, body, soul connection. You could say that I'm not a surface level nutritionist. I like to get to the nitty gritty, like get me in there. I want to know all about it. So just know that I will teach stress management, maybe in a different way that you may have heard about it before as well. And yeah, that's pretty much that part. But aside from the professional part of it, I think it's most important to open up and just share the human side because, I'm so passionate about helping others build a healthy relationship with their mind, build a healthy relationship with stress, and being able to feel more in control around their mind, more in control around these stress management tools. Because I have been through so many situations myself in the past and even to this day that has evoked and continues to evoke a lot of stress. And just to be completely vulnerable and completely transparent as to how that may have looked and has looked for me in the past. The human side of me, I am, and some of you again may know part of this, is I'm a child of split parents. So my parents split when I was 5 years old. And while that has brought so many incredible positive things, 100%, there's no denying that that being from a very young age when I was 5 years old, that did bring a lot of stress, whether it had been, looking back in hindsight now, or even now when I'm processing some things. I'm a woman who has had her heart broken by who I thought was my high school sweetheart at the time. And also, I have grieved and I continue to grieve to this day, which also brings about a lot of stress. I am an ex-Irish squad athlete, and some of you might be thinking, how on earth did that bring about stress, though? And this is what I want to try to communicate to, and that stress can look different and it looks and feels different to so many different people at different seasons of different reasons. And equal to that, I kind of call it there's different flavors to stress. I was and am a New Zealand and Irish citizen. So I moved to New Zealand when I was 15. So while that again was absolutely incredible, that was a season of my life where I was moving into an environment at 15 years old, when you're kind of like a little bit iffy anyway, when you're 15, especially for us women, I don't know, but you're kind of like trying to find your feet and you are fitting into the crowds. I was just, yeah, here, there, and everywhere. I love my family so dearly, and I was kind of moved away from them. So that took a bit of stress as well. I'm an ambitious and passionate nerd. Again, amazing. But that kind of brought me to, I don't know, just deciding, oh yeah, I've got all the tools under my belt and starting up my own business at the age of 19 with no idea what I was absolutely doing. And again, brought about different flavors of stress. And I am a mental health advocate. So, for those of you who don't know my past or my journey, I have come from a background of fighting one of the deathliest eating disorders on this earth. And I continue to invest in my mental health and put my mind through service checks and all of the things. And yeah, so you could say that I've been through the flavors and of stress, and with all of those and through all of those experiences, I've experienced symptoms such as having really bad poor gut health. I've had times where I haven't been able to sleep and at all, and I've been wide awake for hours of the night. My mind has been so busy that I haven't been able to focus on any task at hand. I've had problems with my skin. I've had problems with my hair. I've had problems with my relationships because it has impacted my relationships, whether that be interpersonal, whether that be with food. So there's been so many times in which that it has negatively contributed towards my well-being. and my way to show up as a human on this earth. But equally, there have been times now that I have learned the skill sets through my education, through my application, where I am now in this position where, yes, I feel it, but I've got tools and the mental capacity and mental process to lean into it and see it very, very differently and not let it impact me to the extremes in which that it used to. And not to say that I'm absolutely perfect, by no means am I. And my only intention here for all of you today is to feel a little lighter or feel like you've got more tools in your toolbox. So that's what I'm going to say to all of that. And hopefully, you guys all feel safe and ready to go and know that I'm not a robot. But equally, I have got some tools there to support you guys. So I guess with all that in mind, I want to do a quick little check in, and I would love to hear from everyone in the chat, or even if that you're listening to the replay again. When was the last time that you said, I'm stressed? Was it today? Was it yesterday? Was it this week? And again, no judgment, just a moment for yourself to check in with yourself. Today, today, about 2 hours ago, about 5 minutes ago before joining this call. I love the honesty. Anyone else? So quite recent for a lot of people. I don't know if I say it, but I definitely feel it. That's interesting. And that's going to be something that we'll be speaking about today as well. Amazing. Today too. Yeah. I hear you guys. And we got this. We've got this. So we are feeling in your head today, but out loud a few weeks back. Yeah. And I would love for you to get curious. How does stress present for you individually? So knowing that stress can present and can look very different for every single individual. And you'll see here that we have got some common symptoms in which that it can kind of come up. So when that you're thinking to how it presents to you as an individual, do you feel like your mind is constantly switched on, even when you're trying to rest? Do you often find yourself turning to or away from food for a sense of relief? Do you have goals but feel like you're pulled in so many different directions and you don't know what to prioritize first? The habits that you kind of know, the habits that you want to stick to and that make you feel best, but you can't keep consistent with them. Maybe you feel exhausted even after sleeping, or feeling like you're running on empty and lacking enjoyment. So how does stress kind of show up to each of you individually? And you equally, you don't have to share this in the chat. You can kind of keep that to yourself. That is absolutely perfect. But I just want you to check in with yourself and honor and tune in as to how it actually shows in your body. So for me, actually, individually, it would definitely be, I would definitely feel it a lot more in my head. And that would be then as soon as my mind goes silent, I would hear the Russian accumulation of thoughts at times. I would have the physical, I was just about to say that, Tammy, the physical symptoms, absolutely. I feel it like my shoulders go really tight and I'll be sitting there on the laptop. I'm like, wait, sis, drop the shoulders, like drop the shoulders. What is going on here? Yeah, lack of appetite, lack of sleep, and tension in the body. Yeah. So you can feel it and you know racing thoughts and unable to sleep. Yep. So you kind of know these symptoms and the signs in which that it kind of comes up, grinding your teeth and wondering why your jaw hurts. Absolutely. And then you hear someone say, unclench your jaw, and you're like, whoa, that's been locked in there for a good few days. Like that has been clenched for a good few days. Now, what if I was to tell you guys that stress isn't actually the real problem? How would you guys feel if I were to say that? Stress isn't actually the real problem. And I want you guys to kind of view it as though it's a bit like this iceberg, where stress is often the presenting problem and it's not the root cause, because sometimes stress is simply the messenger. It's the messenger, and stress isn't actually the real problem. So, see when that we are looking at this iceberg here, you can see that at the very top of this iceberg, this is the stress. It's the presenting problem, the thing that is surfacing to the forefront. Whereas beneath it, That is the root cause. That is actually what is going on underneath the surface. So the stress shows up, so that being the likes of your racing thoughts, or that being the likes of your tension in the body, and that's the presenting problem. Whereas the root cause is something that is going on underneath the surface. Another example in which that I want you to kind of think too is, did anyone here have acne when that they were growing up? And I personally had very bad acne when I was 15. And I went to the doctors and they would constantly say, it's to do with your hormones and it's also probably to do with your diet. And then they asked me questions such as, have you been eating your fruit and veg? Have you been drinking your water? And I was like, no, no. And then, of course, there's the element of just natural hormones. But what that presenting problem was for me, so the acne present in my face, the thing that I could see head on. So for you guys, it's like the thing that you can feel head on. You can feel it in your shoulders. You can hear it in your mind. You can hear the racing thoughts. That's the presenting problem. But underneath the surface for my acne that was presenting, it was actually that I wasn't having enough water. It was actually that I wasn't prioritizing a nutrient dense diet as a whole. And of course, there were some in which that I couldn't control, such as things such as my hormones. And there's absolutely going to be things in which that you guys can't control either. That is compounding and accumulating towards your stress. But it's actually about asking yourself, what is the presenting problem here? And what is actually the root cause? Another example could be, take for example, does anyone here have any like reoccurring injuries or niggles in their body? Whether it be a old reoccurring injury, whether it be maybe again, it could be something in which that you're feeling really, really stiff within yourself. And you might kind of sit there and you might be out for a run, or maybe that you're in the gym and you feel that niggle present itself. And you're like, oh, it's just my injury, or oh, it's just the niggle. Again, I'm speaking from experience here. And that's the presenting problem. But then when I ask myself and I'm actually sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, but the root cause to this, I haven't been doing my physio exercises. The root cause to this, I haven't been stretching. So it's easy to point the finger at the injury itself, or it's easy to point the finger at the acne itself. It's easy to point the finger at stress itself. But when we unpack it and we look at the deeper level and we look at what's beneath the surface, we actually identify and realize that there's something more to it. And what this does is this takes us and brings us into a more empowered state. Because when that we say I'm stressed, it makes us instantly kind of feel like clench, right? You feel like, oh, like that, like I've got no control and it's got control over me, because it feels like it's this rush and it's like brought to the surface. But it actually puts us more in an empowered state of mind when we view it to be simply the messenger, and we have got a sense of autonomy to unpack what's underneath. How does that all feel? Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah, yeah. And so what we want to do, that's brilliant, amazing. And so what we want to do is we want to move you from a reactive state to a proactive state. So a reactive state is when that we have this explosion, right? When we're feeling this sense of stress and it's like the volcano has erupted, the iceberg has erupted, and it's right up there, and you're like, whoa, what has gone on? Whereas the proactive state is we're kind of fixing things that are going on beneath the surface before we have this huge explosion. So we're bringing you to be an individual who moves from a reactive state to a proactive state. Now, a reactive state of mind, and this can kind of be, and I'm sure some of you can relate to this, I certainly could have when that I was in the depth of it myself in the past. A reactive frame of mind and a reactive way of living is kind of going about your day, and we've kind of got no plan in place. Every day kind of feels like a fire drill. When you're kind of in that deep fight or flight response and someone like drops a spoon or drops a pen and you're like, whoa, it's like, oh my God, like, oh my gosh, it feels like a huge, huge shock to the system, or you might want to cry, or you might want to shout at someone and you're like, oh, are you being serious? Did you really just drop that right now? Or it's even like with yourself, you might spill a tiny bit of water and you're like, it literally feels like the world is ending. So it feels like a fire drill. We're in that constant heightened fight or flight response. In this reactive frame of mind, everything feels urgent, but not always clear. And it's hard to kind of gain a grasp of to what feels most important. Kind of feels chaotic and overwhelming. You're constantly reacting to people and situations. Again, you might be feeling really reactive to the people around you. And that's a symptom too. That's a a symptom in which that your body is trying to communicate to you, if that you find that you're quite snappy at people around you, and nothing ever feels fully finished. So even when that you get all the things off your to-do list, you're still like, oh, but I just don't even know where to begin with the rest of it. And it just feels really all systems go. And so, what we're wanting to do is we are wanting to move you into this proactive frame of mind where we're feeling clear in our priorities, clear in our routines. We've got space to think. We've got a better control of our time and energy, more mental clarity, intention, and breathing space. And progress actually feels possible. So, as a whole, we've got a better grasp of things and we've got a better ability to zoom out and look at things before things kind of fester up and become too much. And some of you might be thinking, yeah, but Saoirse, that all sounds well and good. That sounds absolutely, amazing. And I kind of know this. Like, I know that I should have more of a plan. I know that I want to have more space to think. I know that I need to have better control over my time and energy. Yeah, it sounds lovely to have more clarity, Saoirse, but like, how do we get there? Or why am I still so stuck in this reactive frame of mind when I've got all these tools and I just can't quite comprehend? And this is exactly what this blueprint is going to teach us today. And what I hope for you guys to begin to literally leave today feeling as though you're shifting from this reactive frame of mind into this proactive frame of mind. Now, something in which that we can attest to that is keeping us stuck in this reactive kind of mentality is I want you to kind of come in and audit that every single unfinished decision that you have throughout the day is occupying mental space in that lovely little noggin of yours. So every single unfinished decision is occupying mental space in your mind. Asking yourself, what should I have for lunch? When should I work out? What should I have for dinner? When should I have dinner? Did I do the laundry? Did I do the dishes? Have I replied to that email? When am I going to reply to that email? Oh, when am I going to meet up with that friend? What are we going to do actually? Mm, what am I going to do over the weekend? Actually, oh, should I message that person? And then the question comes, how far away is Christmas? And when is my next holiday? And what am I going to do at Christmas? What am I going to cook at Christmas? And we've got all of these unfinished decisions that are accumulating over time. And it's like this constant, never ending, unfinished to do list, essentially. And I want you to view every single decision as almost like an open tab. So I want you to imagine that you've got your laptop out and you've got your computer out. And what happens when that we've got so many tabs open and on our laptop? So we've got like a lot of tabs are going on. And some of you might be guilty to this as well. I know that some people are quite partial to the open tab, and no judgment here, no judgment at all. I definitely do dabble in that sometimes myself as well. But what tends to happen when we've got all of these tabs open on our laptop is that it drains our energy. And then when we go on to, say, you're going on to Chrome or you're going on to some browser and you've got all these different tabs pop up and you're going on to do one task, but then next minute you get distracted by the other one. And then your laptop dies and then you go back on and you forget where that you've finished. And then next minute you've got this other email that you didn't intend to kind of seek to, but you tapped onto that and it feels so overwhelming and it feels so chaotic. And that is exactly what is going on in our mind when we've got all of these open loops. We've got all of these open tabs, and our mind doesn't know what to prioritize. And so naturally, it's going to feel very reactive because it's busy. There are loads of loops that are left open. So stress doesn't arrive overnight, it accumulates. It accumulates loop by loop, day by day, and all of these loops remain open. And while that they feel small in the moment, such as, oh, I'm just thinking about what I need to have for lunch, or I'm just thinking about what I need to have for dinner, I'm just thinking about replying to that person. While that they feel small in the moment, together they overflow. And that's when we get to this hot tipping point where we literally feel like we could burst from the seams. How does everyone feel about that little analogy? Does that make sense to everyone? The open loops and the compounding effect and the open tabs. Yeah, ringing true for sure. And so together they can compound and they can overflow. And what we know is stress feeds on chaos. It feeds on chaos and it feeds on all of these open loops. It absolutely loves it. So I want you to leave today thinking, okay, well, if stress had a favorite food, actually, I would love to hear everyone's favorite food in the chat box right now. That is really, really, really important. So for me, everyone that knows me, if stress loved peanut butter, if stress loved peanut butter, it would be fueling off it. It's like it's chaos is its favorite food essentially. Like how peanut butter is my favorite food. Biscoff, mango, nice. Mango. Lasagna. Was not expecting that one. I have not heard lasagna to be someone's favorite food in a long time. Love it. Cheese. Yes, love it. So like that, those are all your favorite food. Chaos is stress's favorite food. And it loves the open loops. So see all those open loops, it absolutely feeds off it, absolutely feeds off it. And we want to close them. We want to close them for them. So what we're wanting to do is all these little loops, I want you to actually hold on to this visual, leaving from today, these open loops. So every single decision that comes into your mind throughout the day, what should I have for lunch? And you haven't quite closed it, or when should I reply to that email? And you haven't quite closed it, you haven't put a plan in place. I want you to imagine that we need to get quicker at closing them, and we need to have a system in place that closes them in a way that feels good to you, which brings us on to the first pillar of the blueprint, and that is having a planning process in place to help you close those loops at a quicker pace and close those loops in a sustainable way and frequently, because planning creates closure and delayed peace. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, that doesn't sound very revolutionary, Saoirse. Planning doesn't sound very revolutionary to manage my stress. I know that. I do that. And I used to think the exact same thing as well. But often what happens, and our brains are really, really, really intelligent, when that we are in a heightened frame of mind, when that we are stressed, our body is always and our mind is always going to look for the easy ways out. It's always going to look for the easy ways out. It's going to look for ways in which that it can save energy and it can pretty much gain as much energy as it possibly can and take as many shortcuts as it possibly can because it's trying to keep you safe. And so, what we know about planning is very, very often we don't get that instant dopamine hit, do we? When that we're planning for our future self, which might look like in 1 hour from now, it might look like from 5 days from now, it could even look 6 months down the line. So, it's delayed gratification. And stress does not want a bit of delayed gratification. It wants the instant hit, it wants the instant sense of relief. So what often happens is when that we get into those stress kind of periods of our life, all things planning related, whether it be planning your meals, whether it be planning your catch up with your friends, whether it be planning your sleep, whether it be planning to do with literally anything within your well-being, planning your breakfast, planning your workouts, etc., etc., it will just go to the side. And those are actually all the habits in which keep things afloat. So I really want you guys to get curious and ask yourself and think too, what's been one of your biggest sources of stress recently? So I want you to think of a source of stress that you currently have control over. So you have control over. It could be a nutrition habit, it could be a training habit, or it could be a mindset habit. So some examples here could be a nutrition habit. It could be, well, my stress-induced eating in the evening is actually causing me a lot of stress. My inconsistency with training is causing me a lot of stress. And mindset one could be my inconsistency with my sleep, my disrupted sleep, that's causing me a lot of stress. My racing mind, that's causing me a lot of stress. So I want you to hold on to that source of stress that has been kind of taken ownership of you. Just pick the one and note that down for yourself and get specific. And again, something that you have control over, that's within your control, within your autonomy. Has everyone got their one written down? Just give me a thumbs up or a little, yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. I love it. Yahoo. Got it. Amazing. Now, I want you to ask yourself with that presenting habit that you have got there, Is it a stress problem or could it potentially be a planning problem? So when we come back to this presenting problem, what's the messenger? What's the presenting problem? What's the pimple? And what's actually going on underneath the surface? What's the injury? And what's going on underneath the surface? So is it a stress problem or could it be a planning problem? Potentially. So if that you were to take your page now and you were to split that page into two sections, and I want you to take yourself into this proactive frame of mind where you're taking this presenting problem, which is your habit. So that could be something like what I mentioned earlier. It could be your stress and just eating. It could be your sleep interfering, or it could be your racing thoughts. It could be your inconsistency with your training. Take that on the left-hand side of your page, your presenting problem. And then on the right-hand side, I want you to ask yourself, what are three ways in which that I could plan for this better, that I could self-support myself better, that I could be proactively supporting myself better? So I'll give you an example and then I'll give you a moment to jot it down for yourself. So an example here could be, take for example, it could be with the stress induced eating. We'll take that. So my presenting problem is in the evening, I am noticing myself that I am going to the cupboard more and I'm just not feeling satisfied. I'm mainly going to those highly palatable foods. I'm not feeling in control around food. But when I actually look to it, so that's the presenting problem. And when I ask myself, okay, could this potentially be a planning problem? Well, when I look to it, yes, it probably could be, because if I'm honest with myself, stress has actually reduced my planning with my dinners recently. So I have just been absolutely winging it with my dinners, which means when I get home from work, I have got no idea what that I'm going to eat. So I just keep on snacking and I don't really have a full breakfast or I don't really have a full dinner. I'm just thinking about breakfast already. I don't really have a full dinner. And then I keep on snacking and I keep on snacking and I keep on snacking, and that's causing me stress. And I'm pointing fingers at the stress and just eating alone. But when I strip it back and I look at what's actually going on underneath the surface, it starts with my preparation and my planning around my dinners. And so that's actually the root cause to the presenting stress problem. Another one could be, say, for sleep. It could be the fact in which that I'm really struggling to sleep at the moment. And this used to be one for myself where my head used to hit the pillow and my mind would be absolutely racing. I'd be thinking, oh, what I need to do tomorrow. Oh, I need to do this tomorrow. I need to do that tomorrow. I need to do this first thing in the morning. I need to reply to this person. Oh, I could have said that a little bit better. I could have said that a little bit differently. Oh, have I turned off the gas? Have I turned off my hair straighteners from like 2 days ago? All of these different things will be going rushing around in my mind. And again, I used to point the finger at saying, this is a stress and I'm just really stressed at the moment. But then when I sat with myself and I was honest with myself, I was able to identify that my planning process as I was ending my days wasn't sufficient enough. I wasn't setting myself up for the day ahead. I wasn't setting a plan in place for the day ahead. I wasn't clocking off and writing a to-do list and being future focused. So naturally, when my head hit the pillow, it was coming up with all of these things because I didn't put a plan in place for myself for the day following. So it made sense that when there was silence involved and there was a pocket to kind of think about it, my mind was trying to piece together this plan for myself in order to protect myself. But actually, it was impacting my sleep. So it's really about looking to, okay, what's the presenting problem? And could there actually be a planning problem? So I'll give you a few minutes there to think to yourself. I'll pop on a little timer. And then if anyone wants that you're done, feel free to pop in the chat that you're done. And if that you feel like you would like to share as well. And just something to help you guys as well. Almost imagine that you're taking a bird's eye view. Someone is recording you. You're like in the Big Brother house and you're looking at yourself with a drone over your head and reverse engineer what plan and processes could be put in place. Guys, also, the biggest heat wave here ever in the UK, 37 degrees it is right now. This little Irish leprechaun sweating her little booty off. Side note. Ones that are coming in here, Anna, mine is definitely sleep. Need to clean up my sleep hygiene, phone down, journal thoughts before bed, meditate, relax before getting into bed. Absolutely. So it's a planning process around your sleep and your evening routine. And what can help you keep consistent with those, I would ask. And then just negative or critical mindset, catch and challenge the thoughts and reframe them into either a neutral or more positive viewpoint. Pick one positive to offset it. Absolutely love this. No heat wave in Scotland, apparently. How's everyone else going? Do we need a couple more minutes? Are you okay? Good. Yeah, buddy. All good. Yeah, my training habit, lack of routine during the summer, blaming the heat for months, going to put training slots into my diary. Absolutely love it. Love it, Tammy. And even, and you guys will all know I'm such a advocate for meeting yourself where you're at. So definitely looking to perhaps it's popping in one slot and looking at a time of day if it is the heat, that you feel more comfortable to train as well. So you want to look for the path of least resistance. And what action can you take right now? So following on from that, if I were to say to every single one of you right now, what is one action that you can take within the next 2 minutes? So for Tammy, it could be literally going and putting it into your diary right now and taking a screenshot and whatever you need to do, or for yourself, for someone else, for like the likes of Anna with your journal, could I invite you if that you can to go and race up and put your journal in your bedroom if that you're not in there already? Just thinking to what can you do right now within the next 2 minutes. I'm going to give you 2 minutes and take action on it. So I'm such an advocate of we get to have this level of awareness, but awareness will only take us so deep. We need to put the action in place and self-support yourself. And even just pop me a little thumbs up, or if you want to put in once that you've got it done. I just pop my magnesium tablet. Does that count? I guess, yeah, that can count. Have we all taken action? Boom. Amazing. And even within that, guys, how do you even feel about, just instantly? Has that bringing even the mindfulness to the plan and piece release a little bit of pressure? A tiny little bit of pressure at times. Feels like ownership. Exactly. Taking action is positive. 100%. 100%. So we know that planning releases pressure, which allows you to bring your attention back to where that your feet are, to bring you back into the present moment. That was my timer going off for your action taken. So it allows you to bring your attention back to the present moment when that we've released that sense of pressure. So has anyone here ever been in such a heightened state of stress where that someone is talking to you and you literally cannot hear a word that they're saying? Even though they are right in front of you, they could be literally right here, but your mind is pulled in so many different directions and you are not hearing a word that they're saying. You're in a different room, you're in a different world, you're in a different environment. And it is so, so hard when we've got all of these open loops going around and around and around in our head and they're not closed to actually bring our mind back into the present moment, into the conversation that you're in, into your activity, into the work task. It feels close to impossible. So, this first pillar of supporting you and closing those loops is going to allow you to bring in that pillar two, which is presence, a sense of presence. So, presence isn't just about meditating 60 minutes a day, but rather it's about creating more pockets of white space to let yourself be a human being, not a human doing. And I say it like that because I need to hear it time and time again too, guys. It's about creating pockets of white space to let yourself be a human being, not a human doing. Get that on a t-shirt and whack it on as right. This could be one of my go-to sayings, I think, because that's what we are. We're supposed to be. We weren't designed to be doing all the time. Now, who can relate to a schedule similar to this where it's jam-packed? So it could be, you wake up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever it is for you. You wake up, you sort out the kids, you eat the breakfast on the go, you train, you work, 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 you eat your lunch at your desk because there's no time to stop. You work, 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 you drive home while calling someone, you put on the dinner while doing the kids' homework or cleaning or talking to your flatmates or whatever it might be. And it's literally just like boom, 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 bosh, 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 bosh. Does anyone feel like that's quite similar to your current routine or that kind of structure where it's just all systems go? Yeah. Like you go to bed and you just stepped off a roller coaster 100%. That is literally it. It's like, let's go. We're jumping on and we don't get off until 8 p.m. tonight. Or we're jumping on and we don't get off this roller coaster until 10 p.m., whenever it might be. And so if we're living life at 100%, when everything gets quiet, that is when we have a backlog of thoughts that have not been attended to. And then we sit there and we wonder, why does my brain suddenly get louder? So if we are living at 100% capacity, when everything gets quiet, we have a backlog of thoughts that have not been attended to. And we wonder, why does my brain suddenly get louder? Why is my brain not shut off? Why is my brain so loud right now? Why are there so many thoughts in my head? Why can I not quiet this voice in my head? And it just feels like too much. So what we do is we avoid presence when that we're feeling stressed. But then as soon as the silence is available to us, it exposes everything. It exposes all of those open loops. It exposes all those unfinished tasks. It exposes all of those thoughts that you didn't allow yourself space to actually think about. It exposes the emotions that you haven't processed. It exposes everything. And sometimes they come in all at once, other times they come in chip by chip. So, what we want to do is we want to create pockets of white space. So, we want to shift your schedule daily and weekly from going to fully packed to being, yes, maybe it is packed and there's part of that and which is unavoidable, but we've got little pockets of margin within our day. So instead of going boom, 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 we're going boom, 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 margin, boom, 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 margin, boom, 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 margin. And we've got these little pockets to actually listen to our voices in our head, to actually check in with our emotions, to actually check in if we've got any more open tabs that we need to close or that we could do within 2 minutes or that we could take action on. So this might look like, okay, you wake up, you do your normal morning routine, you train, but as opposed to parking your car directly outside of work where you literally just go in, out, in, out, in, out, and there's no transitional phase, we actually create a little margin for ourselves where we park the car 10 minutes further away and we give ourselves 10 minutes of silence, walking to work and walking from work, or maybe it's 10 minutes where that you might want to listen to some relaxing music. Maybe it's 10 minutes that you want to do a walk in meditation, whatever it is for you, but you give yourself that little pocket of margin for yourself to actually check in with yourself. Then, similar to that, of okay, you're working away, then working away, you've got a few more tasks, then lunchtime comes around. Could we then create a little pocket of margin where you actually take your lunch away from your desk, you take your lunch away from your phone, and you allow yourself to be, even if it is for 5 minutes of the meal, as opposed to feeling like you need to fill that void again and you can't check in with the voices in your head. And this was a huge one for me, guys. And I could speak about mindful eating time and time again, but I used to work in a very, 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 very busy cafe when I was at uni. And naturally, with uni, it was all systems go, and my head was already really, really busy. And then I lived, or rather, worked in a really busy cafe. And I remember I used to go upstairs and have my lunch, and it would just feel like my heart was racing. I used to shake, my head was going so fast. And all I would do, in those initial stages, as I would just numb and I would just distract as I was eating, and I was just adding to the noise, and I was literally creating no pocket for myself to just breathe and just to regulate and listen to myself and check in and give myself a moment to pause in between each task. And so it's about looking for those little opportunities. It could be 2 minutes. It doesn't need to be this revolutionary 60-minute process, is what I mentioned before. I could be driving home in silence, or it could be, having part of your dinner away from distractions, whatever it might be for you. So I want you to get curious and even ask yourself now, where throughout the day are you currently having practical presence? So how are you currently grounding yourself? When that you're walking, and even just take some little notes as that you're going through, or just note it within your mind. When you're walking, are you always walking with distractions? So you always walking with headphones in your ears? Are you always walking and you're replying to voice notes or messages? Are you always walking and you are, listening to some trainings, calling someone? Or do you have some walks in which that you're just being completely present? Again, even if it's for 2 minutes of the walk, are you tapping into your senses? Are you walking distraction free? Are you looking at the colors around you? Are you driving in silence at all? Are you constantly living in distractions as well? As soon as you get into the car, the music goes on or the podcast goes on. Yeah, this is amazing. Those said here, I go straight from work to the gym, always give myself 5 to 10 minutes before going in just to sit and breathe and let the world go by. That is so, so special. And it makes such a world of difference. And then slowing down and reset. So asking yourself now, do you currently mindfully eat? And guys, this is not to, this is just to lean in with curiosity and compassion. This is not to shame ourselves by any means. If that you're sitting there now and you're like, I don't do any of those, that's amazing, because we've got so many little micro areas in which that we can lean into and we can fine tune, and you can pick one and run with that and know that you're most likely going to have an even more positive effect of implementing these if it's something in which that you don't implement now, leaving today. So when we're looking to slowing down and having a moment to reset, how many of your meals are you eating mindfully? So again, with no distractions present. And coming back to again, could it just be the micro element of it, where you eat part of your meal in silence, check in with your senses, allow your mind to just go for it? Are you currently transitioning from task to task? So take, for example, you have your dinner, you're straight up, you're putting on the laundry, then from the laundry, you're going and you're doing XYZ thing. Or you reply to that message and then you're straight into the gym, and then from the gym, you're straight over to the supermarket, and then from the supermarket, you're straight into making dinner, as opposed to giving yourself a little transitional period. At any stage, are you being single task orientated? Are you mainly being multitask orientated? And now we know multitasking at times is absolutely beneficial. I am an advocate for habit stacking at times, 100%. But equally, it's about catching, are we always multitasking? And is that actually interfering? And is that actually contributing to the chaos? For example, starting one task and completing that for 5 minutes, then moving on to the next, and then moving on to the next. And all that is doing is just keeping all those loops open. So you're opening the loop and you're keeping that loop open, and we're never fully closing it. So it's creating more of that chaos that our brain loves to feed off. It's fuel for it. Are we creating those pockets to pause? Yeah, like Jess said here, enjoying my coffee in the morning. It's like a ritual, getting out of the shower, wrapping myself in a towel, and taking a couple of deep breaths with my eyes closed. I love that. I will die on the 10 minutes in the car in silence when I park up on my drive hill forever and always. I love that. So you guys are already doing some incredible ones there. That's just amazing. And I want you to just ask yourself with that, where could you potentially bring in a little bit more of presence? Even if that you're doing some now, I would love for you to get curious. If that you were to split your page up into these three pillars, so the morning, the afternoon, and the evening, where are little pockets that you could bring in a little bit more presence for yourself? So could it be first thing in the morning with your breakfast, eating a little bit more mindfully, having your cup of coffee, like some have mentioned here? In the afternoon, where can you slow down and reset that a little bit more? So again, could it be around your afternoon snack? Could it be for a little stroll midday? In the evening, could it be having a nice cooling shower with some relaxing music? And as opposed to just showering and again, just solely showering and doing all the tasks, actually feeling the water on your body, allowing yourself to slow down. Give yourself a little moment and just let me know when that you've kind of got that, and if that you've got anything in which that you'd like to pop in as well. Tammy, thinking about it for me, it's all connected to the phone. Calling someone when walking, listening to podcasts before sleep, or when driving, reading the news when eating. That is an amazing share. Absolutely. And for me personally, like what Jessa said here too, need to leave the phone on the table more. For me, it has been building that relationship of honestly detachment from my phone in those situations. And I'm very, very much so an advocate of it needs to be out of sight in order to be out of mind. So once that I get home from work, I put my phone in the top drawer of my living room, and it goes into the top drawer. And I like, because if it's inside, I'm going to grab it naturally. It's a habit to grab it all the time, or a habit to pick it up without even thinking about it. And like, so more often than not, I'll pick it up and I'm picking it up and I'm like, wait, I don't even know why I just picked that up. But I'll have already been on like Facebook scrolling or something like that. And I'm like, why did I even go on my phone in the first place? I don't even remember why I went on to it. And there's literally no need for me to be on it. And those are all little pockets that can be contributing towards your stress, because then you get caught up in your phone and you see something that is completely irrelevant that you didn't even need to kind of be paying attention to in that moment. And it adds up over time. Whereas we could be actually using that time to create more margin, to allow your brain to actually process some things, to check in with yourself, and to pour that energy into you as opposed to pouring that energy external. Out of sight, out of mind. And for those of you who know as well, I use the app called Opal. So it's a free app, social media blocking app. So none of my friends can contact me. They will all know. I do not reply. I do not reply between the hours of 6 a.m. until 4 p.m. I am absent from everyone. And that's really, really good because it just helps me can be completely focused and single task focused on my work throughout the day. And I don't get distracted even on because a lot of my other work and part of my work is on social media, but a lot of that work can be done after my heavy task focus work that needs to be done during the day. So that's another thing. How's everyone feeling about kind of taking that moment to look for those little pockets as well? Good. Good to move on. Yeah, perfect. And then when we've got that planning in place and we've got that sense of presence, so we're closing those loops and we're bringing ourselves back into the present moment, and we are feeling more grounded, we're feeling more regulated. The mind's becoming a little bit less chaotic now, and we are back in the room. We're back in the room. When we are back in the room, that allows us and enables us to gain a lot more perspective and a healthy sense of perspective. So I want you to think about, if and whenever a friend has come to you or a family member has come to you and they have said, I am absolutely stressed my eyeballs right now. And they come to you with all of these list of different things. And you are able to support them in that moment and kind of riffle off all of these different actions that they can be proactive about or all these different solutions. And they say to you, they're like, how did you just, well, like, how did you just think of all of those? Like, and to you, you're like, well, it's just so clear. Like it's so clear. And that's because you're removed from that situation. You're not in that heightened stress frame of mind, and you're able to zoom out and you're able to be proactive and you're able to give them those solutions in that moment. You're able to think rationally. And the same rings true for us. It could be now, for example, you could look back in hindsight from a very stressful period of your life and reflecting back now, you might be like, why didn't I just think about that in the moment? Like, why didn't I? And it's because our mind is so busy with all of these different things going on up here that it doesn't enable us to gain a healthy sense of perspective. So that's the first piece to the third pillar of this blueprint. The planning, the presence allows you to gain a healthy sense of perspective. But the other point to it is knowing that your thoughts shape your experience. And this is a huge one. So I'd love for everyone right now just to place your hand on your heart or your hand on your belly. And if you feel comfortable to, I know that we're in a safe space. I want you to say out loud or say into yourself internally, I'm stressed. And just say, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed. Say it again, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed. Where did everyone feel that in their body? How does everyone feel? For me, my heart's racing and my shoulders are up. I can feel them already. They're tight. Like literally, I'll feel it instantly. Yeah, chest, heart. And you feel it. Breathing. My heart's racing, but weirdly, my head too. So if that doesn't show you guys how powerful our thoughts shape our experience, that was literally just within a couple of seconds. The moment that we say I'm stressed is the moment that we change our anatomy. Your body keeps score of the language that we use. Our body changes us physiologically. So if that we are constantly saying, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, you have already seen what that does to the body within seconds. When we communicate to ourselves or we say these words such as I'm stressed, it instantly puts us into this vague, overwhelming identity. It's as though that you're saying, I'm Saoirse, I'm 20 something years old. I'm Anna, I'm something years old. I'm Saoirse and I'm from Donegal. It's like you're saying it as if it is part of your identity. I'm stressed and I'm Saoirse. I'm stressed and I'm Irish. It's as if it's your identity. And that language collapses everything into one feeling, leaving you feeling stuck, reactive, and without a forward plan. So it puts you into that victim mentality. It instantly puts you into that fight or flight response. So what we want to do is we want to shift it into saying, I feel stress in my body, because stress is just a feeling. It's not part of your identity. You're not tied to it. You're not married to it, but you feel it. So, like what you were all saying just before, you felt it in your heart. You felt it in your shoulders. You feel it in your head. So, I feel stress in my body. So, I'm going to focus on XYZ. I'm going to focus on taking action, because now we are all proactive bees and not reactive bees. And you might say, okay, I feel stress in my body, but after today, I'm going to focus on putting a plan in place. I'm going to focus on eating my meal mindfully, even when my mind is going to tell me not to, even when my mind is going to tell me I don't have time to plan, even when my mind is going to say, you can't sit here and put away your phone. I feel stress in my body. And that is a symptom that my body is showing that there's stress present. So I'm going to take action. And instantly that takes us out of that victim mentality into ownership. It's specific, it's grounded, it's actionable. And this language names what's really giving you clarity, agency, and the ability to respond rather than react. And of course, there's going to be times in which that you feel stress in your body, and you might be saying, okay, I'm going to focus on or take action on. Sometimes that action is I'm going to focus on giving myself a deep, deep sense of compassion right now, because what is going on for me in my life, I don't have much control over. And your action is to give yourself the deepest level of love, kindness, and safety in that moment. And other times it's actually going to be, I need to get outside and go for a walk. And I actually need to take action. So, what we want to do with our perspective is we want to catch that language and come back into knowing that your language and your body keep score of the language in which that we use. And you have all experienced that within seconds. So, like what was already mentioned here, this is my CCC method. So when that you hear those thoughts saying, I'm stressed, I want you to catch it. I want you to challenge it and ask yourself, am I stressed? Is that really my identity, just like my name? Or am I feeling it? And I'm feeling it in parts of my body. I want you to challenge it and choose different and shift from that reactive frame of mind into the proactive frame of mind. How does that all feel? Our last little pillar. And that is pretty much that. And I want you to ask yourself, what perspective shift do you need to hear right now? So if that it was a loved one coming to you with the situation that you're currently in, what would you tell them? What perspective shift do you need to hear right now? And that brings us a close to the third pillar and the three pillars. So we have gone through the blueprint of planning, the blueprint pillar of presence, and the blueprint pillar of perspective. Planning, presence, and perspective. Planning enables you to close those loops. Presence brings you back into the present moment. And with these coinciding together, it enables us to give us a clearer perspective alongside catching the language that's keeping us stuck. Need to be a lot clearer. Yeah, amazing. So I'd love for you just to take a moment now and ask yourself, based off all the notes that you've taken, circle maybe on the page, or maybe it's on your notes. What's something in which that you'll plan better leaving today? What's one way that you'll become more present leaving today? And what's one thought that you'll challenge leave today? And if you would like to share them, please do as well. Love the action of compassion if you don't have control of the situation that's causing stress. Absolutely. And that's so important. So, so, so important. Just like you would a loved one. take time away from phone. Absolutely. Plan bedtime better, be present more by putting down the phone, challenge negative thoughts and replace them with a positive. I love it. Haven't been sleeping well this week because of stress, already feeling so much better. So hopefully tonight will be a better night. Amazing. How does everyone feel after as a whole, after this stress less blueprint? Some of them sound, and this is the thing, it can sound so simple, but it's the simple things that go amiss when that we're in these heightened spaces and in these heightened frames of mind. And our mind will want to make it 10 layers deep, and sometimes it actually isn't 10 layers deep. And what we need to do is the simple things. Feel more control with an action plan that is amazing, more focused on me, amazing, definitely more clarity, action needed for myself. Control your controllables, absolutely. So moving forward today, I want you all to act as if you guys are a cool cucumber, like this one right here, okay? Every single one of you, you are a cool, calm, and collected cucumber. So when you are in a moment leaving today and you're like, oh, I feel stressed in my body, I'm not stressed because it's not my identity. I feel stress in my body. I am a cool, calm, and collective cucumber because Saoirse said I am. And so if I were to act as if I am calm and cool like this cucumber, then I know that in this moment, even though the feelings of stress make me want to pull away from planning right now, I'm going to choose different and I'm going to do the opposite. Even though I'm stressed and I don't want to put my phone away, I'm going to act as if I'm a cool, calm, collected cucumber and I'm going to put that phone away. Even though I'm stressed and I am wanting to engage into negative thoughts, I'm going to act as if I'm a compassionate, kind, nurturing individual who shows myself patience no matter what. So act as if, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when you want to revert back to old habits, old ways of thinking, old patterns, act as if. And that's how we change our behaviors. Oh, I love that. Tammy said, I'm so glad I give this evening, this hour for myself this evening. Thank you. That is amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, for anyone that does want a little bit more support, you're welcome to reach out to me on Instagram if that you would like to unpack things a little bit more, understand things a little bit more, or unlock your next steps, then you're more than welcome to reach out to me. But I really, really hope that everyone has got what they needed from today. So clearly explained and attainable. Jessa said that makes me so happy. That's all I want. And yeah, I just hope you feel that little bit more empowered. You will all get the video recording to this afterwards as well. So you can watch this back as many times in which that you may need. But does anyone also have any questions? The floor is yours to ask any questions that you might have before that I wrap up. This is your time, your space. Any questions? Anyone want to jump on? You're equally welcome to unmute yourself. I can unmute you if you want to have a yap. You're so welcome. Does everyone feel all good then? Don't be scared to ask any questions, guys. Equally perfect if you don't have any. It could be you're feeling so content. Yeah, random times. Feel free to, yeah, so that could be very well be it when you start putting these things into action, leaving today. So please pop me a message as well if any questions come up. Yay! Thank you in the chat. Alice said from one cool calm and collected cucumber to another. I love it. Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. It sounds like everyone is all good then. And absolutely, Anna, reach out. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I assume that these are all good. Yeah, all good. Amazing. And please, as I mentioned, pop me a message if that you need. Sending you all so much love and thank you so much. See you later.